I forgot the exhaust was cut. Okay.
The heart of this Tacoma build series has always been about one thing: doing the work ourselves. This 23-year-old truck has a big adventure ahead of it, heading all the way to Alaska, and there's been a long list of repairs and upgrades needed to make that happen. Along the way, I've run into more than a few moments that reminded me that I still don't have it all figured out.
I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but I don't know what it is.
With some determination, trial and error, and help from a few good friends, we've tackled every problem right here at home in the garage. In the past few episodes, you've seen us remove an old body lift, install the Tech camper system, rebuild the front driveline and suspension, add a new 3-inch lift, and maybe, the biggest challenge yet, cut into a rotten frame, patch it with new metal, and spend countless hours grinding and welding. It's been intense. There were definitely a few hair-pulling, what am I doing moments, but in the end, the process has built more than just a better truck. It's built confidence. I've picked up new skills, sharpened old ones, and learned that with time, grit, and a little garage space, you really can do more of the work yourself. Honestly, it's pretty crazy how expensive the 4-wheel drive scene has gotten over the years, from maintenance costs to shop time, aftermarket parts, fuel, and everything else in between. The way I've been able to keep this activity sustainable and enjoyable is by learning and teaching myself how to jump on the tools and get things done myself. Otherwise, it would have been over for me a long time ago. The Tacoma build isn't over yet. In the last video, we were nearly done with the frame repair. After another week of crawling under the truck, we're finally getting close to buttoning everything up. So let's dive in. Here's what we've been up to and what's left before this rig rolls out of the shop and back onto the road.
It is time to start priming and painting the fresh metal that we have welded and patched in. Having all the welding done and the patchwork done and moving on to paint, I can't tell you how excited I am. For primer, we're going with the Rust Check Gray Primer. On top of the primer, we're gonna go with a Trem Clad, just a flat matte black. And then to protect everything over top, we're going to use fluid film. Now this stuff is superior at protecting against rust. It's basically an oil finish over top of a painted metal or any metal that you don't want to rust. And what it does is not allow oxygen to the surface of the metal to start the oxidization process. I'm going to spray it on the inside of the frame. I'm also going to spray it on the outside of the frame once we have it all painted up. I actually bought these wands off of Amazon that go on the, that you swap out on the fluid film can. What it does is just, it gives you an extension to really, to be able to get up in hard to reach areas. I'm going to stick it on a couple of the holes on the frame. We've already etched the metal. Those will be my steps in the painting process. I was thinking about going with like a POR 15 or a rust bullet, but I am on a tight budget here. And for the cost of a can of rust bullet is like a tank of fuel for the truck, which is, you know, a couple 100 kilometers of travel up in Alaska. So let's get into it. Let's start painting this stuff up and then put the rest of the truck back together and get it the heck out of this shop.
After cleaning the metal with a wire brush and degreaser and giving it an etch, the primer is ready to be applied. A good primer is key to making sure the paint bonds properly and holds up to the abuse this truck will see on the trail. Once the primer is down and fully cured, we're hitting it with a durable top coat to finish it off. I've had quite a bit of experience with this Trem-clad rust paint over the years, and I've never been disappointed with it. In my opinion, it's a great budget option. Not only does this give the frame a fresh, clean look, but it also adds a critical layer of protection for the adventures ahead. So here we are, nearing the end of this project. It's wild to look back at how far this truck has come. What started as a rusty, worn-out vehicle has slowly transformed into something solid and reliable, one long day and one small win at a time. It hasn't been easy, and there have definitely been moments of frustration and doubt, but that's part of what makes it all so rewarding. This build has pushed me and taught me and reminded me that progress doesn't always come fast or easy, but it does come, if you keep showing up. And now, piece by piece, things are finally starting to come together. A truck like this will never be perfect, no matter how much time or effort you put into it. There will always be something to fix, polish, weld, or replace. From the start of this project, I said that these old trucks are like blank canvases. You throw some paint at them and see if you can create something that feels like art. Along the way, you learn patience. You learn that no matter your skill or determination, perfection will always be just out of reach. And that's okay. The real goal isn't perfection, it's progress. And it's about making it better, not flawless. And maybe most importantly, it's about learning to see the beauty in the imperfections.
I just sprayed 1 can and 1 coat on both sides of our frame, and now I'm going to go for round 2. What I noticed when I was spraying this stuff is it's pretty thick. It's not like a regular black spray paint that I've seen before. So hopefully it will create a thick enough barrier, especially with 2 coats of this stuff, to last a long time. I'm going to come back out tomorrow morning. I'll mount up my leaf springs, get the truck back on its wheels. Woohoo! That's going to be so great to get the truck back on its wheels. I got to put the gas tank back in because I had to drop the tank to do the repair. And then we can continue with our suspension install, which is the rear shock absorbers. So after that, it's looking like it's almost done. I'll probably have to do a brake bleed. And then there's not much else, really. Paint, leaf springs, get the fuel tank back in, mount the shocks up, do a brake bleed. That's 5 more things I got to do on the truck. And then it's out of here. It is the following day. Paint is all dry on the frame. Everything looks really good. The coating looks like it turned out really well. I like the matte black finish. Now it's time to hang our leaf springs. I did some measuring when I welded these new leaf spring mounts on. I did a lot of measuring, but fingers crossed that everything fits up nicely. It's always a little nerve-wracking when you cut something off like a mount or a leaf spring mount, and then you put a new one in place and it has to be in a certain spot. I just worry that it might not line up for whatever reason. So we will see if my measurements turned out and if both leaf springs can hang properly, so the axle isn't all twisted. Yeah, things are progressing rapidly here. All right, so this side's lining up pretty nicely here, but if I come over to the other side, I need it to shift like a couple millimeters to the right there, and it's pressed up against the hanger, so there's not a lot of room to wiggle. I could lower it, but then I would lose my positioning on the other side. I don't want to do that. I want to keep the positioning on that side while also getting this one in place. Oh, that might be the money. Oh, that might be in position there. I hope the other side didn't slip out. No, it slipped out. My position on this side has slipped out. The bushing is no longer sitting inside the hanger. That's the thing, it's like one side goes in and then the other side comes out. These leaf springs are really fighting me to get lined up. Leaf springs are a bit of a bear, I'm coming to learn. Let's go up just a touch. Okay, pry bar. Now if we pry on this thing just right, it might go, come on. Oh, there she is. Now this side has slipped out on me again. Yeah, there it goes, there it goes. I don't want to force it. Oh, I see what the problem is. Bushing sleeve is coming out on the other side, not allowing us to push it up all the way. If you can see that there, this bushing sleeve is making contact with the hanger here. So as I'm trying to push up, this sleeve here has come out a little bit with my hammering, and it's not allowing the spring to seat properly. That's just a good reminder that if you're running into resistance somewhere, and if you're trying to install something and it's fighting you, double check that you're not making contact on anything. Double, triple check that before you force something, you're not going to break something else in the process. If I didn't catch that and I just kept hammering and hammering away, I would have bent that sleeve. So now we can push that sleeve back in and hopefully get the spring the rest of the way back up. all I need to do here is just tap this sleeve back in. Try real hard not to dent it or score it. There we go.
Hell yeah!
All right, so after a bit of a fight, we got our leaf springs mounted up. Man, it is good to have that done. It was not the easiest thing to get both of those aligned and get that bolt in there. So the proper way to do this is to get all of your suspension bolts snugged up, but not torqued down to spec just yet, because the truck is going to settle once it's sitting on the ground. So you want the components to be able to move just a little bit in order to settle correctly to reduce any binding. So what we're going to do is get these bolts all snugged up around the shackles and everything, these bolts up front here, and then we're going to set the truck on the ground, and then we're going to go back and retorque everything. Good. Is a good feeling to be getting these tires back under this truck. Jack stands are coming out. The truck is about to be on its own weight for the first time in a long time. Wow, that is an accomplishment that I didn't think I could do, honestly. When I saw that crack in the frame, my heart sank and I thought, oh my gosh, you know, this truck is totaled, it's ruined, or it's going to be extremely expensive to fix this, you know, several thousand, maybe $10,000 to fix a frame like this when it has the crack in it if I had taken it to a shop. But we fixed it here in the garage, and it's looking better than ever, and hopefully it will function better than ever. It's hard seeing your truck that you love starting to rust away into pieces. It really is, and especially at my skill level, fixing rust, which was pretty much non-existent. You know, I can run a bit of a welder and I can cut some metal, but I really didn't know what I was doing here. So I'm just so happy that I was able to take the time to figure the truck out, learn some new skills, work with some of my friends to help me along with this process. I'm so grateful for them. It just goes to show that you don't necessarily have to know what you're doing. You just have to have some determination and you can get some things done. I'm gonna have a new Tacoma here if I don't stop replacing parts. So no more replacing parts for me, please, for a little while. Let's get this thing out of the garage, hopefully, button up the last couple things, and see what this thing can really do. Quick interruption for the video here. If you enjoy our videos and you'd like to support us further, check out our t-shirts. We design these graphics. We cut them and press them on the shirts here at home. Got a cool graphic on the back. Keep old trucks alive with all of the front ends and the grills and the headlights of the adventure vehicles that we've used over the years. There will be a link in the description of this video that takes you to our website for a nice, secure checkout. So thank you guys so much for watching. Now we're back into the video. Just in the process here of getting the shocks mounted up. I have these bottom shock mount brackets that I need to weld onto the axle tube. I have it mounted up top on the upper mount and the lower mount on the axle tube. I'm just trying to run the shock 90 degrees straight up and down. Now I'm just gonna tack it up with a welder and see how it looks.
Sometimes, small tasks seem to take just as much time to complete as the larger projects. However much time I think something will take to do usually turns out taking much longer. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but a good lesson in time management. Today, the fuel tank is going back in, along with drain holes in the bottom of the frame. I was shocked to see how much dirt was stuck on the inside of the frame, making a perfect breeding ground for rust. These holes should allow things to drain much more effectively.
In a pinch, to preserve the life of the bit, you can actually use mineral oil for cutting oil. You're supposed to use formulated cutting oil to keep the bit nice and cool when you're cutting or when you're drilling. But like I said, in a pinch, we're just going to use a little bit of this mineral oil, and that will work just fine.
All right, I've got some holes drilled in the bottom of the frame here and here. And now I'm going to fluid film inside the frame with that wand that I was showing you guys. It's finally time to do the fluid film.
So this is the wand that I was telling you about, and that's the tip of it, and it sprays out in 4 different directions. So that's going to go on the inside of the frame.
Cap is leaking a bit. Most of it's going inside. I can hear it.
The time has come to fire it up. Battery is going back in. Honestly, it might be dead after this long. I got the battery installed, I got the fuel tank installed. Everything should be good to go to make this thing run again. Let's see if I installed the fuel lines properly. I know I did, but there's always that chance that, you know, that I screwed something up or that a line is pinched or something might go wrong. I'm not sure. Let's see if it fires up. We have power? We have power. I forgot the exhaust was cut. Okay. Well, the truck fired up without issue, so that is super exciting. I forgot how loud, or I wasn't expecting how loud it was going to be, because I had to chop the exhaust off to get access to the frame so I could repair the frame because the exhaust was running right next to the frame. I'm gonna have to go have it welded back on, but when I fired up the truck, it was so loud it scared me a little bit. I think we're gonna take it for an evening cruise this evening. Man, I'm nervous. This is the first time driving this truck since all of these modifications, and it feels a little crazy. It feels just the first drive jitters after a long time in the garage. Guys, the truck is out of the garage. We're getting the muffler welded back onto it tomorrow, so it won't sound like a disaster for very long because it's just a chopped exhaust right now, which is kind of crazy. So tomorrow morning, I've got an appointment to get that welded on so we don't have any exhaust leaks. And that's about it from the Tacoma build for now. The truck's on the road. I'm going to enjoy driving it around, daily driving it again for a little while, get a feel for the new components, get a feel for how everything's working, adjust as I go if the suspension needs a little bit of a ride adjustment or something like that, or if I notice any problems out of the vehicle. I just need to drive it around, get a good feel for it because I haven't driven it in a while and I've done a lot of modifications to it over the last little while.
And just like that, the Tacoma build comes to a close, at least for now. What started as a rusted out mess turned into something I'm genuinely proud of. Tackling the frame repair, installing the suspension lift, getting the camper mounted, and taking care of all the driveline maintenance. It wasn't always easy, but every step gave me a little bit more confidence. I've learned a lot through this process. Things like how essential prep work is, how surprisingly simple older trucks can be once you dig in, and how much you can accomplish with some time, grit, and willingness to fail forward and to proceed without having all of the answers up front. I also gained a deeper understanding of my tools and built skills I'll carry for life. This whole project was about making the best out of a bad situation, and that's what working on old trucks teaches you. Things won't always go to plan, parts will break, rust will fight you, and the progress will feel slow. But if you stick with it, there's a quiet kind of power in knowing you can figure it out. So if you're watching this and you're wondering if you can fix that thing in your garage, yes you can. You don't always need to shop, just the courage to start. Because like life, it's not about perfection, it's about progress.
So that's where we're going to wrap up this video and this series for the Tacoma build, for the truck that is going up to Alaska this year in July. It's now the middle of May or the beginning of May. We got a couple of months to get ourselves prepared for that big trip. So thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you watch our Alaska series. We hope you check out our t-shirts. And until next time, we will catch you in the next adventure.